My name's Sophia, 50 years old, and I swear to God, life showed me a kind of betrayal most people only see in those dark Netflix dramas. People look at women my age like we're already done, washed out, like we ain't got no story left to tell. But baby, I ain't done. I'm just getting started. Because what you're about to hear, this ain't no basic heartbreak story. This is the kind of nightmare that makes your soul stiff. Imagine this, the man you've been loyal to for years, the man who held your hand at every anniversary dinner, ends up crawling into the bed of the very person who grew up eating at your mama's table right next to you, not a stranger, not some random chick. My very own sister. Yeah, you heard me. My husband slept with my sister and then divorced me to marry her. Like I was just some broken leftover piece he could throw away. But they both forgot one tiny thing. I'm the type of woman who doesn't go down without setting the entire world on fire. I'm Sophia, and look, I ain't gonna sugarcoat nothing for you, 'cause I know so many of y'all watching this are already dealing with the type of family snakes that smile in your face and then eat off your pain like it's breakfast. So let's roll it from the top. When you hit 50 in America, people act like your story is already done, like your value is discounted, like your heart's supposed to be numb by now, like we ain't got no passion, no sting, no soul left. But yo, I still had fire in me. I still had dreams. I still had a marriage I thought was solid. My husband, James, the man I literally prayed for, the man I woke up next to every single morning, thinking he was my safety, thinking he was my forever. And my sister, her name's Amanda, the nice one, the one everybody thought was so innocent, so girly, so caring. She was the type that always pretended she was emotionally broken, soft-spoken, little Miss Angel vibes in front of outsiders. The one who always needed help, always needed attention, always needed someone to rescue her. And I swear, nobody ever suspected the devil behind that soft voice. Not even me. I trusted both of them way too much. One Saturday afternoon, I felt this weird shift in the air. You ever feel that cold hit your back? That silent punch from the universe that tells you something. Foul is cooking behind your back, but you can't see it yet? That's exactly how it started. Small details. Little glances, whispering, quick phone screen flips. My husband suddenly started leaving the house earlier. Late gym sessions. My sister visiting me way more than usual for no damn reason. Like she suddenly cared. And my gut, my old half-broken 50-year-old intuition, started screaming. But y'all know what we women do? We silence our own damn alarms because we don't want to look crazy. We don't want to seem insecure. We don't want to ruin the vibe. So I shut my mouth. I convinced myself I was just overthinking, juggling menopause emotions, hormones, stress, blah blah blah. But deep down, I knew. I just didn't have the proof yet. And trust me, when that proof finally slapped me in the face, it didn't just break me. It changed me, like permanently. If you're vibing with this story, don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss the next part when it drops. Next few days were weird. Like the kind of weird where you can't explain it to anybody, but your body just knows something's off. James stopped kissing me on the forehead when he left for work. He stopped sitting next to me on the couch. He started scrolling on his phone even during dinner. And you know when a man ain't locked in anymore, you feel it before you see it. And Amanda, my sister, suddenly she had new confidence. Like this shiny little glow up, like she knew something I didn't. She'd walk in my house like she owned the damn place. Sit on my sofa, throw her purse down, start laughing at her phone like some teenage girl texting a new crush. And every time I'd say, "Who you talking to?" she'd giggle and be like, "Oh, nothing, just one of my friends." Girl, please. Some of y'all already know exactly what I'm talking about. That fake giggle when someone is hiding something dirty. I tried to brush it off, but then a small detail happened that cracked my head open. James came home from work one evening, and he smelled like her perfume. Not just any perfume. Amanda's signature one. The one she wore for years. The one she bought obsessively. The one that literally triggered my memory the second it hit my nose. I froze because that smell was not something you just accidentally get on your shirt. My heart literally went numb. I looked at him like a detective looks at a suspect. Quiet, watching, analyzing every blink. He didn't even look guilty. That was the craziest part. He looked relaxed, comfortable. Almost like he was living in a second reality where I didn't even exist. That was the second where I realized this wasn't some stupid small crush. This was an affair already in motion, but I still didn't have proof. No message, no screenshot, no voice note, just vibes, just instincts. And nobody believes a woman when she only has instincts. Everybody be like, "You sure you're not overreacting? You're 50. Hormones mess with emotions. You need rest, Sophia." No, baby. I didn't need rest. I needed truth. And I promised myself I will get it, even if it destroys me. You ever hit that stage in your life where you stop crying and you just start watching people? That's where I was at. My heart wasn't loud anymore. It got quiet, sharp, focused. I started studying James the same way women in true crime documentaries study evidence after the killer slips up. His schedule changed again. He started leaving the house every Wednesday night. Said it was a late business meeting. First time, I let it slide. Second time, my soul flinched. Third time, I said, "Okay, Sophia, something's cooking." But instead of confronting him like some dramatic soap opera scene, I went calm, silent, strategic. I told myself, don't expose your suspicions yet. Let them get comfortable. Let them get sloppy. Because guilty people get stupid when they think nobody's watching. So one Wednesday night, after James left, I waited about 10 minutes, then I grabbed my car keys. I followed him, slowly, no headlights. I stayed 2 cars behind like a damn undercover cop. My fingers were shaking on the steering wheel, not from fear, but from rage. He drove across town, not to an office, not to a meeting spot, but to some cheap little motel on the outskirts of the city, the kind of place where people go to do things they don't want the world to see. I parked in the dark corner of the lot, heart pounding so hard, I swear I could hear my blood moving in my neck. 5 minutes later, guess who I saw pulling up in her beat-up silver car? Amanda, my own damn sister. She jumped out the car smiling like a devil in lip gloss. She fixed her hair in the reflection of her window, like she was about to walk into some paradise. And then she walked right into that same motel room James went into. Door closed, lights off, and I just sat in that car, frozen, shaking, my chest burning like somebody poured gasoline inside me and dropped a match. I didn't cry. Tears are too soft for betrayal like this. I just stared at that motel door thinking, so this is where the truth lives. And this is where I killed the lies. That night, the old me died, and a whole new version of me woke up. A version that wasn't scared anymore. A version that was ready to burn secrets into ashes. By the end of the week, things started to move. Amanda's social circle began acting a certain way around her. Smiles got thin. Conversations paused when she walked in. She started texting like crazy, like a girl who finally smells the smoke. And James, he still thought he was winning. But the game was shifting. So while the clock was ticking toward that family dinner, I kept my poker face clean. I wasn't acting bitter. I wasn't acting jealous. I wasn't acting suspicious. I was acting normal. Because the moment a cheater senses your tone shift, they go into defense mode. They go into hiding. They start covering tracks. But when you act chill, they relax again. They slip again. They get sloppy again. And I needed sloppy. So for the next couple days, I played sweet wife like I was a damn actress on a Hulu limited series. Cooking dinner. Laughing at his lame jokes. Laying next to him at night like nothing was wrong. Meanwhile, inside my brain, I was building a chessboard. And James had no idea every move I made was a calculated trap. At one point, he even said, "Babe, you've been really calm lately. I'm glad you're in a better place mentally." Mentally. Sir, I wasn't mentally better. I was mentally armed. But the moment that really changed the temperature was when Amanda tried to call me out of nowhere. Yeah, her. The same woman who'd been hiding like a rat for days. She called the next morning like she wanted to check up on me. I let it ring twice, then picked up with that fake friendly tone. "Hey sis, what's up?" She tried to sound casual, but her voice had that tight nervousness like someone who's scared the truth is crawling under the door. She said, "I just wanted to see how you've been. Feels like we haven't talked much." Girl, you haven't talked much because you've been too busy sleeping with my husband in a cheap motel behind my back. But I didn't say that. I just said, "Oh yeah, been busy. But I'm excited you're coming to my birthday dinner next month." Silence. Dead silence. Like she forgot how to breathe. She stuttered. "Oh, yeah. I don't know my schedule yet. I mean, yeah, if I'm free, free." Baby, she was always free, especially in motel rooms. But I let her choke on her own anxiety. I said, "Don't worry. I really want you there. It's important. Because here's the real truth nobody ever admits. Revenge isn't fire. Revenge is ice. Slow, patient, sharp enough to slice someone open without them realizing they're bleeding until it's too late." After that call, I sat back on the couch, took a sip of tea and let the moment settle. Because I could feel it in the air. They were nervous. They were sweating. And nervous people expose themselves faster than liars who still feel safe. And now, all I needed was time. Days started rolling by slow, like the universe wanted me to savor every little shift in the energy. Because when people are guilty, they don't need to be confronted. Their behavior exposes them little by little. James started acting restless again. Not soft restless, guilty restless. He'd randomly get up from the couch and go to the bathroom to whisper on the phone. He'd turn his screen away from me while texting. He'd walk outside to get fresh air and suddenly return with that exact same perfume scent I now associated with betrayal. And you know what I did? Nothing. Silence is a sniper. I let him drown in his own lies without ever showing my hand. Meanwhile, Amanda, she got quieter too. Her messages got short. Her vibe got uncomfortable. She had that fear in her chest, the type where a person doesn't know if someone knows, but they feel like someone might know, and fear makes snakes sloppy. One night, I opened a bottle of wine and sat across from James at the dining table like everything was cool. He asked if I wanted to watch a movie, and I leaned back slow and said, "Nah, I'm working on something special for my birthday dinner." His eyebrows twitched, just a tiny micro-reaction, but I caught it, like he heard the word dinner and suddenly his heart got hiccups. He tried to play chill, but he cleared his throat and said, "Oh, what kind of special?" I smiled like I was talking about decorations. "You'll see," I said. And right there, I saw genuine panic hit his face for one split second. He thought I knew something. He thought maybe I'd seen something. He thought maybe Amanda said something. And that's when I realized something important. People who are truly innocent don't get nervous when you say surprise. Only guilty souls tense up at the word special. Only cheaters get jumpy when you mention plans. Only liars get shaky when you say I have something prepared. And that moment, it gave me confirmation louder than any confession ever could. I didn't need him to admit anything. His reaction admitted everything. So I just sipped my wine like I wasn't studying his every heartbeat and said calmly, "This year's dinner is gonna be unforgettable." Because what they didn't know was, I wasn't just planning a birthday. I was planning a funeral. Not for bodies, but for reputations. And they were gonna bury themselves with their own behavior. All I had to do was wait for the perfect moment to flip the table. Next week, the tension in my house felt like static electricity. James moved around stiff, like a man scared of shadows. Amanda stayed quiet, like her brain was running disaster simulations all day. And me, I was calm. Quiet revenge hits different. One evening, James walked into the kitchen and said, "Sophia, you seem different lately. Is everything okay?" I smiled soft. No anger, just that calm demon energy women get when they've already seen the truth. I said, "Yeah, I'm just thinking about my birthday dinner. I want it to be memorable." He swallowed hard. He couldn't hide it. His throat literally twitched. That's guilt body language 101. But instead of pushing him, I let him talk. He started giving excuses nobody asked for. Maybe we could just do something small. Maybe just us. Maybe I cut him off gently. No, I want everyone there. And right there, his eyes dropped to the floor. He knew I wasn't talking about balloons. He just didn't know how much I knew yet. Later that night, he tried to cuddle me in bed. Like he wanted comfort. Like he needed reassurance I was still blind. I let him. Because the scariest revenge is when your enemy thinks you still love them. I lay there thinking, you have no idea the stage is already built. All you gotta do is show up. That birthday dinner wasn't gonna be a celebration. It was gonna be exposure night, where every fake smile would crack and every lie would catch fire. And the best part? They were walking right into it, with their own feet. The next morning, I woke up early, before sunrise, made coffee, sat in silence, and started writing down a guest list. Not just family. I added old friends, neighbors that had seen things, people who knew how Amanda suddenly got that fancy new purse last month, people who gossip fast. Evidence doesn't always have to be documents. Sometimes it's just the right pair of eyes. Then I called the restaurant and booked the private back room. The lady on the phone said, "Oh wow, big group. Must be a special birthday," I said with a straight voice. "Oh honey, you have no idea." James walked into the kitchen while I was stirring my coffee. He looked like he didn't sleep all night. His eyes had that guilty hangover shine. "Why are you up so early?" he asked. I shrugged. Just excited for Saturday night. The way he froze. Yeah, guilt was eating him alive. He still didn't know I had the text messages. He had no clue I had screenshots. And the cherry on top? I printed them. Hard copies. Real ink. No deleted chat escape. Later, Amanda texted him I saw it on the synced laptop. She wrote, "What if she finds out before dinner?" I literally laughed. Too late, sweetheart. Fear was already chewing them. I sat there thinking, this is what betrayal does. It rots people from the inside while they pretend everything is normal. And the most evil part of revenge isn't the reveal. It's watching them break themselves before you even touch them. Saturday got closer, and every hour felt heavier in that house. James kept trying to act like normal husband routine, fixing small things, forcing jokes, doing extra nice husband moves like making breakfast. But you could literally see the fear sweating through that man's skin. Amanda. She stayed low-key quiet. Her energy felt like a kid who broke the vase and is now waiting to see when mom screams. I swear, sometimes silence is more loud than yelling. Friday night, one day before the dinner, I sat at the dining table with my journal open, not to cry, not to write emotions, but to finalize the order of how the truth was gonna hit the room. I wasn't gonna just scream, "You cheated," like some basic drama moment. No, I wanted this whole thing to feel like a Netflix courtroom episode. Step by step, fact by fact, receipt by receipt. James came near me and asked, "You still want that big dinner tomorrow?" I didn't even look at him, I just kept writing. And I said quietly, "Yes, actually, I think tomorrow is gonna change everything." He froze. I heard his breathing change. That's when he knew deep inside. I probably knew something. But guess what? I still didn't confront. Because the scariest part for a liar is not knowing what the other person knows. It drives them crazy. Let them self-destruct. Let them panic. Saturday night was gonna be the night. I stopped being the quiet sister and became the storm. Saturday morning hit. and the air in that house felt like somebody plugged anxiety straight into the walls. I woke up slow, took a long shower, moisturized, did my hair like a woman who wasn't broken, but rebuilt, because that was the vibe I wanted them to see, not hurt, upgraded. I put on a soft beige dress, simple jewelry, classy but not loud. That's the most terrifying look revenge can wear. James saw me walking down the hallway, and his eyes literally blinked twice like his brain couldn't process how calm I looked. He said, "You look beautiful." I smiled. Soft, not warm. That's the plan. He swallowed again. Amanda didn't show her face all morning. She hid in her room pretending she was sick. Girl wasn't sick, she was petrified. I sat at the kitchen table sipping iced coffee and looked at both of them from far. I wasn't thinking, why did they do this to me? No, I was thinking, tonight they're gonna wish they never played with the wrong woman. Because see, pain doesn't destroy you, silence does. And I had been silent long enough. Around noon, my phone buzzed. Restaurant manager texted me, "Private room is set. We have candles and table settings ready." I typed just 2 words. Perfect timing. This wasn't gonna be some messy emotional breakdown. This was gonna be precision. Fact. Proof. Exposure. Tonight wasn't my birthday dinner. Tonight was gonna be the night the masks finally fall. Evening came faster than I expected. 5:35 p.m. I looked at the mirror one last time before leaving the house, not to check my makeup, but to remind myself who I became. A woman who finally chose herself. James stood near the door holding the car keys, but his hands were literally shaking. He tried to hide it by putting his hands in his pockets. He said, "You ready?" I nodded slow. "More ready than you think." That sentence probably slapped his soul. Amanda came out last minute, wearing a fake smile that looked like it was glued on her face. Her lipstick was smudged. That's how you know her nerves were eating her alive. All 3 of us got in the car. The ride was silent, the kind of silence that buzzes in your ears. No music, no conversation, just heavy breathing and broken trust. Halfway to the restaurant, James tried small talk. "So, who all did you invite?" I didn't look at him. I just said, "You'll see when we get there." His jaw tightened. Amanda stared out the window like she was praying for a miracle. People think revenge is loud, screaming, cursing, but real revenge has a soundtrack of silence. When we pulled into the restaurant parking lot, that was the moment I realized this wasn't even about them anymore. This was about me telling the universe, I'm done shrinking myself to keep broken people comfortable. I stepped out of the car first, and the second my heels touched the ground, that was the moment the story changed direction. Forever. We walked inside, and the host led us straight to the private back room. The doors opened, and boom, the entire room was filled. My cousins, 2 of my close friends, a few old neighbors. Even my boss showed up because she knew pieces of this puzzle before I did. Everyone was sitting there, already waiting, already watching. James literally froze at the doorway. Amanda's face turned pale like chalk. I walked in, calm, hugged a couple people, thanked them for coming. Then I took my seat at the head of the long table. James sat on my right. Amanda sat across. Every eye in that room was on them, not me. Because energy doesn't lie. Then one of my cousins leaned toward me and said quietly, "You want me to start recording when you give the signal?" I whispered, "Not yet." We ordered appetizers, small talk happened, the room felt normal on the surface. But underneath, it was pressure cooker quiet. James kept wiping his forehead even though the AC was on full. Amanda barely picked up her fork. Finally, the waitress came back and said, "Are we ready to begin the birthday toast?" I smiled. Yes, we are. And that was the moment the entire room shifted, like everyone sensed the story was about to flip. I stood up slowly, placed my hand gently on the table, and took a long, deep breath. because my next sentence was about to pull the trigger on everything they thought they were hiding. I lifted my glass, calm and steady, like a woman who already knew the ending of the movie. Everyone else lifted theirs too. I said, "Before I thank everyone for being here, I want to say something real, something raw." The room went silent. Even the clinking glasses stopped. James stared at the table, pretending to be invisible. Amanda looked like she was seconds away from fainting. I continued. "See, people think betrayal is loud, but nah, it's quiet. It starts small. A little lie here, a little secret there, until suddenly, the person sleeping next to you ain't the person you thought they were." I paused, looked straight at James, and sometimes the snake ain't outside the family. It's sitting at your damn dinner table. Everyone's eyes snapped toward him. He didn't move. He didn't blink. Amanda's breathing turned fast. She grabbed her napkin with both hands. Then I reached into my purse and pulled out a small white envelope. James saw it, and his entire face went red like someone ripped his soul out of his chest. I said loud enough for the whole room, "These are screenshots. Dates, times, locations, hotel receipts, all proving that my own sister and my own husband been sneaking around behind my back." Gasps hit the room like gunshots. My boss covered her mouth. My cousin whispered, "Oh my God." Amanda whispered, "Sophia, please." I cut her off instantly. "No, tonight isn't the night you get to speak." Then I placed the envelope on the table, right between them, like a bomb that was about to explode. You could literally feel the air split in half. James reached for the envelope, but I slapped my hand on top of it first. Not rough, just firm. I said, "Don't touch what ain't yours." His hand froze midair. Amanda started shaking. Her voice cracked. "Sophia, it wasn't like that. We didn't mean to." I leaned back in my chair and laughed once, short, cold. "You didn't mean to? You had months. Hotels, excuses, late night lies, gaslighting me like I was crazy. Nah, y'all meant every bit of it." The entire room stayed dead still, like nobody could breathe. James finally tried to speak. "Sophia, listen, we just got confused." "Confused?" I snapped my fingers in his face. "Confused is when you don't know what to order on a menu. Cheating ain't confusion. Cheating is a damn choice." He looked down, his eyes glassy, but I wasn't falling for pity. I stood up slow, grabbed the envelope, and slid it toward my cousin who was recording. Everybody in this room deserves to see who these two actually are. Amanda covered her face with both hands. James looked like he was gonna pass out. And at that moment, I didn't feel broken. I felt powerful. Because when betrayal is exposed in daylight, snakes don't know where to crawl. I took a deep breath and said, "This birthday isn't the day I lost a marriage. It's the day I freed myself from liars wearing family titles." The whole room stayed silent, waiting for what I'd say next. The restaurant manager quietly closed the door, giving us privacy. But trust me, the whole staff already sensed this wasn't some normal birthday dinner. At this point, James was sweating like somebody poured hot water down his back. He tried to reach for his glass, but his hand shook so bad the ice cubes rattled like warning bells. Amanda kept whispering, I'm sorry," under her breath like a broken record. I looked around the table and said calmly, "See, pain doesn't kill you. Lies do. Because lies make you doubt your own mind." Then I pointed at both of them, and you two gaslit me for months. My cousin slid the screenshot printouts toward the center. Everyone leaned in, reading, eyes widening, connecting the dots. It wasn't just text. There were pictures, receipts, locations, times, cold, hard facts. James whispered, "Sophia, can we please talk about this alone?" I shook my head slowly. "No. You betrayed me publicly, so tonight you get exposed publicly." Another cousin spoke up softly. "You never deserved this, Soph." I nodded. "I know. Because sometimes healing ain't quiet self-care moments with candles. Sometimes healing is war. Sometimes healing is standing in front of those who broke you, and not shaking. Amanda finally lifted her head, tears everywhere, and said with a tiny voice, "What are you gonna do now?" I smiled, not evil, but free. Live better without y'all. Then I pushed my chair back, stood tall, and let the whole room sit in the shock. The chapter wasn't ending. It was shifting. I grabbed my purse, slid my chair back fully, and looked around the table one more time. Not for pity, for closure. Because everyone in that room just became a witness, not to drama, but to truth. James finally stood up, weak, voice shaking. Say, "Sophia, just give me one more chance. We can fix this." I tilted my head and said, "Fix what? The marriage you already walked out of. Y'all left me emotionally months ago." Amanda wiped her face and whispered, "I didn't want to fall for him. It just happened." I leaned forward slow, like a final strike. "Nothing just happens. You chose him, while looking at me every day like I was blind." My boss whispered from the side, "This is heartbreaking, but this is also powerful." I nodded lightly. "It is, because tonight isn't the night I break. It's the night I wake up." I turned toward James and said the line that sealed this whole thing. "You betrayed a woman who would have died for you. Congratulations. You just lost the only person who ever fought for you." He tried to grab my hand. I pulled away instantly. Amanda cried harder. Real ugly panic crying now. And I didn't flinch. Not one tear. Not one shake. Because sometimes the strongest moment of a woman's life is the moment she stops begging people to value her. I took one last deep breath, grabbed my keys, and said, "This dinner is officially over for me." Then I walked toward the door, leaving them frozen, like criminals waiting for the final verdict. I walked into the parking lot. Cool night breeze hit my face, and it felt like the universe just peeled a heavy weight off my chest. I wasn't shaking. I wasn't broken. I was done. My cousin Jasmine ran out behind me. She wrapped her arm around my shoulder and said, "Girl, I swear you handled that like a queen. Most people would have thrown plates." I smirked. "Yeah, but loud chaos doesn't scare guilty people. Silence does." We got in her car. She drove. I stared out the window, watching streetlights flash by like little reminders that life is still moving forward, with or without them. Jasmine said, "Where you wanna go?" "Home." I shook my head. "Nah, I don't want to step in that house tonight. That house is contaminated with lies." So she drove me to a small late-night cafe, one of those cozy places with dim lighting and jazz in the background. We ordered 2 coffees, and for the first time in months, I tasted peace. And sitting at that table, I realized something crazy. I wasn't mourning James. I wasn't mourning Amanda. I was mourning myself, the old version of me that tolerated bare minimum love just to keep family stable. That version died tonight. After a long sip of coffee, I said quietly, "I think I need a fresh start." Jasmine nodded, like she expected this shift. "Then don't look back, Sophia. Burn the bridge and let the ashes fall." And right there, I decided, I'm not going back into that house to cry. Next chapter, I'm rebuilding me, not as a wife, not as a sister, but as a woman reborn. I walked out of that private room and headed straight for the hallway. Heels slow, steady. Every step felt like I was shedding old skin. But before I hit the exit, James came running behind me. He grabbed my arm lightly, desperate, voice breaking. "Sophia, please, don't leave like this. Let's talk. We can go home. We can fix things." I turned around and looked him dead in the face and said, "You want to talk now? Where was this energy when you were sneaking around hotels with my own sister?" He had no words, just wet eyes and regret too late to matter. Then Amanda came out too, crying, makeup ruined as trying to stand close but not too close. She said, "Sophia, you're my sister. Please don't just erase us." I laughed, not loud, just that tired laugh women make when the pain is expired. You erased this family the minute you decided my husband was your entertainment. James tried again. We were stupid. We didn't mean to hurt you. I raised my hand, stopping him mid-sentence. You didn't accidentally hurt me. You chose pleasure over loyalty. And this right here, this is what consequences look like. Both of them went silent. For the first time, I wasn't the one crying. I wasn't the broken one. I was the one in control. I looked at them calmly and said, I'm not going home with you. You two can deal with each other. I'm done being the emotional landfill for your trash. And with that, I turned around, walked out those restaurant doors, and the night air felt like freedom. The cafe closed around 1 a.m., so Jasmine drove me to her place. Small apartment, but it felt safer than a mansion built on lies. She handed me an extra blanket and said, crash here tonight. No questions, no stress. I nodded, kicked off my heels, sat on the couch. My phone kept buzzing. James was calling non-stop. Text after text after text. Then Amanda started calling too. Both of them, desperate. Like they finally realized the fire they started was now swallowing their lives. I didn't answer. Not one call. Because sometimes the most powerful response is nothing. Silence hurts more than cussing. After an hour, the calls stopped. Then suddenly, a new text popped up. But not from them. It was from my close friend Maria, the lawyer. She wrote, Sophia, if you want, I can start paperwork Monday morning. You don't gotta stay tied to that mess legally. My heart literally exhaled. That text felt like a door opening. I typed back, yes, let's do it. Then I turned my phone on Do Not Disturb. Jasmine walked over with a cup of tea and said, you know what the wild part is? You looked more alive tonight than I've seen you in years. I smiled, small but real, because tonight I stopped begging. And once a woman stops begging, she becomes unstoppable. I pulled the blanket over my shoulders and leaned back. For the first time in months, I slept without fear, without suspicion, without pain. And in that sleep, my healing finally began. Next morning, sunlight hit my face, and I woke up with a strange feeling. Peace, not sadness, not regret, just peace. Jasmine made breakfast. We ate quietly. No drama, no tension, no fake smiles. After eating, I finally checked my phone. There were 28 missed calls from James, 17 missed calls from Amanda, plus long paragraphs, all those please don't do this type messages. Funny how people are terrified of losing something they never respected. Then another message appeared from my neighbor, Mr. Cole. He wrote, Sophia, James parked outside your house last night. He was pacing around till after 3 a.m. Looked like he was waiting for you. I literally rolled my eyes. Of course he was. People who betray you always panic the hardest when they realize the supply is gone. Around noon, Maria, my lawyer friend, called me. She said, paperwork is ready. Just need your signature tomorrow morning. After that, you're legally free. I took a long breath and whispered, thank you, really. She said, Sophia, don't forget you survived this. You didn't collapse. That matters. After the call, I walked to the balcony and just stood there. Birds flying, cars passing, normal life happening like my world wasn't just flipped inside out. But in that moment, I felt stronger than I'd ever been. Because sometimes, the most dangerous version of a woman is the version who finally realizes her worth. And I had finally reached that stage. I wasn't scared of tomorrow now. Tomorrow was mine to build, on my terms. I went home the next day, but not to reconcile, to collect my life. When I pulled up to the driveway, James was sitting on the porch steps, eyes dead tired, like he hadn't slept a second. He stood up fast and said, Sophia, please, just hear me out. I held up my hand, calm. No explanations. No stories, we're past that. He looked like he didn't know how to breathe. Inside the house, I walked straight to our bedroom. The closet still had my clothes perfectly folded, but the meaning behind them, gone. I started packing. Not angry packing, peaceful packing, James stood in the hallway watching like a ghost. He whispered, "I never wanted to lose you." I shrugged. "You didn't lose me. You threw me away." And that's the part that hit him like a punch. I took my important files, jewelry, laptop, essentials. Then something crazy happened. Amanda walked in from the kitchen, eyes swollen, hair messy, like life slapped her 12 different ways. She said, "Sophia, I'll regret this forever." I didn't yell, didn't insult. I simply said, "You should." Then I zipped my suitcase, rolled it past both of them, and headed for the door. At the doorway, I turned one last time and said, "Sometimes the best revenge is never giving someone access to you again." And with that, I walked out, for the first time, without looking back. I moved into a small studio apartment that same week. Nothing fancy. Tiny kitchen, small balcony, but it felt like mine. And sometimes owning peace feels richer than owning diamonds. I put my suitcase in the corner, sat on the floor with takeout noodles and a cheap soda. And I swear, that dinner tasted better than every fancy restaurant meal I ever had with James, because freedom has its own flavor. At night, I stood on the balcony, city lights blinking, cars passing below, and I realized something. I wasn't scared to be alone anymore. Loneliness is not the enemy. Bad company is. The next morning, I signed the papers with Maria. She smiled at me and said, "You're officially not tied to him anymore." I nodded slow, exhaled, like I finally dropped 1,000 bricks off my chest. That night, I got a text from an unknown number. "I know you don't know me, but I just want to say your strength inspired me. I was cheated on too. Watching you handle this gave me courage." It was from a woman who was at the restaurant, a waitress. I stared at that message for a long second, and right there, something clicked inside me. Maybe my pain wasn't useless. Maybe all this wasn't just destruction. Maybe this was transformation. I typed back, "Thank you. If my story helps even one woman walk away from disrespect, it was worth it." And that night, sitting alone in that quiet little apartment, I felt powerful. Not because I survived betrayal, but because I turned it into purpose. Weeks passed, and every single day I felt more like myself again. I started new routines, morning walks, cooking for one, journaling, reading again, and slowly, the version of me that used to shrink to make others comfortable, she disappeared. Then one afternoon, I got a letter in the mailbox. Not a text, not a DM, a handwritten letter. It was from James. He wrote pages of regret, apologies, memories. All the typical, "I finally realize your value," things people say only after they lose you. At the end of the letter, he wrote, "I will never forgive myself for losing you. Please, if you ever want to talk, I'll always be waiting." I folded the letter up, and I didn't cry, because tears belong to the version of me who used to believe loyalty was enough, to keep people honest. I didn't even respond. Closure isn't a conversation. Closure is a decision. Later that evening, I sat on my balcony, wind soft, coffee warm, and I said out loud, "I choose me now." And damn, that sentence felt sacred. People think revenge is destroying someone back. No, real revenge is leveling up so high they can't reach you anymore. I didn't want James back. I didn't care if Amanda ever healed from her own guilt. Their story ended. Mine was just beginning. And in that beginning, I finally understood. Self-worth isn't proven when someone loves you. It's proven when you walk away from those who don't. Months later, I stood in front of my bathroom mirror. Same woman, different soul. No dark circles, no shaky breath, no lump in my throat, just peace. I looked stronger, like someone who survived a storm and came out with steel in her bones. I started talking to more women online, sharing pieces of my story, anonymously, and something wild happened. Women started writing back. Women who were scared. Women who were betrayed. Women who were one step away from giving up on themselves. And they said my journey helped them find courage. I realized my pain didn't end me. It educated me. It gave me a mission. One night, sitting with my laptop, I wrote down the final statement for myself. Not every breakup is a loss. Sometimes it's a rescue. Because I didn't just walk away from a marriage. I walked into my own life. And that was the real victory. I didn't want revenge anymore. I didn't need them punished anymore. Their karma is that they have to live with the memory of losing a woman who truly loved them. My karma is peace. And peace doesn't scream. Peace doesn't chase. Peace doesn't beg. Peace just arrives quietly when you finally choose yourself. So here's my final truth. I didn't end lonely. I ended free, and freedom was the best birthday gift I ever gave myself.